Welcome to Around the Weird. Here's your host, the museum curator of the strange and unusual, Mr. Nothing.
Thank you, Mysterious Voice, and welcome back to Around the Weird, a booktube channel where I talk about all the unusual and out of the ordinary literature that I've found in my travels. Today it is Poetry Thursday, so I wanted to talk about some interesting poetry from a familiar author. Today's poem is all about snow. I am referring to A Wreath of Snow by Emily Bronte. I've talked about Emily Bronte on this channel before, so I don't need to go into that great of detail. But for those who don't know, Emily Bronte was an English poet who lived in the 1800s. She wrote a little bit of poetry, but most of the poems she wrote were published after her death because she died at an early age, around the age of 30, which is sad, of course. And she's very, very well regarded, as is the rest of her family, including Charlotte Bronte. Emily Bronte also wrote Wuthering Heights, which I have yet to read, but I'm sure it will be awesome. Without further ado, let's talk about this poem. I will read it, do a little bit of analysis, and we will move on from there. To a Wreath of Snow. O transient voyager of heaven, O silent sign of winter skies, what adverse wind thy sail has driven to dungeons where a prisoner lies? Methinks the hands that shut the sun so sternly from this morning's brow might still their rebel task have done, and chucked a thing so frail as thou. They would have done it had they known the talisman that dwelt in thee, for all the suns that have ever shone have never been so kind to me. For many a week and many a day my heart was weighed with sinking gloom, when morning rose in morning grey and faintly lit my prison room. But angel-like when I awoke, thy silvery form so soft and fair, shining through darkness sweetly spoke of cloudy skies and mountains bare. The dearest to a mountaineer who all life long has loved the snow that crowned his native summits drear, better than greenest plains below. And voiceless, soulless messenger, thy presence waked a thrilling tone that comforts me while thou art here and will sustain when thou art gone. And so that was To a Wreath of Snow by Emily Bronte. In terms of analysis, there is a fair bit to talk about with this poem. Just the first thing I can note is the narrative. It's just a narrator seeing a snowflake, feeling pretty great about it because they might have been dealing with Great Depression before, and knowing that even when the snow is gone, they will still be sustained, which I think is very beautiful. This kind of speaks to me. This was meant to be a Christmas poem, but I couldn't find a lot of them, so I just picked up winter or snow-themed poems. And this kind of speaks to me because I grew up in Iowa, lived in Washington State, and I love snow. Like, I love the first snow of the winter. By the time February or April comes around, I'm tired of it, but I always love the first snow of the season in November or December. I don't get a lot of it in Northern California, but whenever I see it, I feel very eager and excited because I know that winter is here, and it's very cozy, even though it's kind of cold outside. So, very easy to see how this poem is sort of about being uplifted by the snow. You can also see that the rhyme scheme is interesting. It's A, B, A, B. We see that in the beginning. Heaven, skies, driven lies. Sun, brow, done, thou. Known thee, shown me. At the end, though, at the final verse, it's messenger, tone, here, gone. Messenger doesn't quite rhyme with here, and tone doesn't quite rhyme with gone. But maybe that she's trying to call attention to this ending here, especially noting that, like, that comforts me while thou art here and will sustain when thou art gone, which again I think is very beautiful. Just talking about like, your presence makes me feel good, and the memory of you will make me feel good, which is very interesting, if I'm being sentimental there. So yeah, very interesting kind of aspect of the poem. And then the depression is also notable in this poem, something that Emily Bronte has written about before, and if I'm guessing she must have dealt with it quite a bit, which could have been a factor of her environment, because she was living in a place that wasn't doing that well for her in terms of health, and she died at a young age. So things couldn't have been that great. But if I may point that out, it's like, for many a week and many a day, my heart was weighed with sinking gloom, when morning rose in morning gray and faintly lit my prison room. Describing her room as a prison, that's not ideal. If you're, if your room is a prison, then anything, even snow, will make you feel better. So, kind of really getting at the narrator's attitude here, and how they need something like this snow to make them feel better, to help provide an escape that they might not have been getting before. This poem is very clear in how it's lifting someone up, and providing them with a little bit to help them escape from whatever dreary environment they live in. Anyway, those are my thoughts on To a Wreath of Snow by Emily Bronte. Similar to the last poem by Emily Bronte that I talked about, I really enjoyed it, and it seems like there are a lot of quality poets named Emily out there. So let that be a lesson. If you have a daughter that you want to be a great poet, call her Emily. But that also means that you're sentencing her to a life of depression. So maybe don't do that. That's not ideal. Let me know what you thought about this poem in the comments below. Otherwise, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that more people can find out about this poem, this poet, or Poetry Thursday, so we can get them doing that as well. Until then, I wish you the best of luck in your weird and snowy travels. Farewell.